Said this 18,000 times. I'm only doing this to defeat Donald Trump. Nobody seems to want to do that in the Democratic Party right now other than me, because Joe Biden can't is my proposition, because the data says he can't. No one in the country right now cares. In fact, most of the people in the country are going to the Trump rally right now because he's listening to them. No one's asking about this stuff. I'm just frustrated. I hope you understand why I'm getting tired of it. You're doing your jobs, but you're not asking the questions that Americans...
As we know, today is the primary election in New Hampshire. And New Hampshire has always been the first in the nation primary for Democrat and Republican. But this year, the Democratic National Committee has decided to forego New Hampshire because, quite frankly, they think New Hampshire is irrelevant. My guess is they think New Hampshire is too white. That's why the Democratic National Committee is now going to use South Carolina as the first primary in the nation. That right there was United States Rep. Dean Phillips, who represents Minnesota in the 3rd District. Quite frankly, he thinks he can beat Donald Trump. I know that he can't. You know that he can't. And the New Hampshire residents know that he can't because he has zero name recognition. But the Democratic National Committee is not even giving a Democrat support. Okay? This guy jumped in the race because the DNC will not run anybody against Joe Biden because they say he's a sitting U.S. president. That right there is nonsense. The people in New Hampshire, you would think, would wake up. Joe Biden hasn't campaigned there. His name is not on the ballot there. But some residents have started a write-in campaign because they think that Joe Biden is the almighty savior and they think he's doing a great job.
Wrote in Joe Biden.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Were you disappointed that his name actually wasn't on the ballot, or was that a secondary issue to you?
Disappointed, but very happy to vote for him by writing his name in.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Dean Phillips hit this state very, very hard, trying to, really take advantage of the fact that Joe Biden was not on the ballot. Did any of that campaigning get through to you, matter to you, or were you unwavering the whole time?
I was unwavering, and I actually found him annoying.
So that woke Democrat New Hampshire resident still wrote Joe Biden's name on the ballot. She was a little disappointed that he didn't campaign there, but she found that Dean Phillips was annoying. What's annoying is having a president who cannot put together a sentence. What's annoying is the fact we have a president who cares not about the United States or its people. He cares more about open borders and certain groups of people like the LBGs and the TQs. These New Hampshire people, I'm going to say it, I'm sorry, they're tree huggers. They're not paying attention to what's going on in the country, especially that lady right there. What is she thinking? The Democrats completely ignored New Hampshire. Ignored it, okay? The first in the nation primary. All of a sudden, it's 2024, and the Dems need their boy Biden to succeed. We all know why, so we can continue to destroy the country. And these people are going to write in his name. This is unbelievable that we're actually seeing this, that these people are so blind to the reality that we face today that they're willing to waste a vote on Joe Biden instead of giving it to another Democrat or changing it altogether and voting for a Republican such as Donald Trump. We all know Trump and Nikki Haley are on a Republican ballot, and quite frankly, Nikki Haley is a fraud. She is a Democrat running as a Republican. She's funded by a billionaire Democrat. The entire United States knows it. The one thing that aggravates me the most about Nikki Haley, she wants to raise the retirement age to 70 years old. What she really wants, and what the U.S. government wants, they want us to die so the federal government does not have to pay us all the money we've paid into Social Security over the years. And you saw that lady, the write-in person. She's not young. These people are blind. If anybody votes for Nikki Haley, That's just another failure for our country. Quite frankly, I think Haley's going to get destroyed in this primary, but that remains to be seen. But there is a little hope. Some New Hampshire residents are fed up. They're fed up with what's going on in this country, and they told the reporter about it when he was on the ground there.
What do you think is going to be driving people to the polls in New Hampshire?
Well, you know, every state is a border state, and actually in the case of New Hampshire, we truly are a border state with the Canadian border. We've actually seen an uptick in the amount of illegal crossings of the northern border, including a lot of movement of drugs. And so it impacts folks in New Hampshire just as much as many other states across the country. And so I expect it's going to be the border, but also small businesses are the backbone of the New Hampshire economy. And so rising inflation continues to be one of the #1 issues here, alongside concerns about security on the southern border.
Meantime, Democrats, they're doing something tonight as well. They hope President Biden gets enough write-in votes. But here are some angry New Hampshire voters. Listen.
Well, I'm kind of angry about it. And some people have said, why should we write his name in when he won't even give us the time of day?
We're disappointed this year not to have the Democratic primary, and that's why we're doing this, because it's not meaningless like the DNC says. It really is meaningful.
I think, you know, the Democratic National Committee has said that the primary, the Democratic primary here is not relevant or real, and I think that's just nonsense.
As you heard, people are concerned. Small business are concerned with high inflation, and they have a serious concern about illegal border crossings on the northern border, Canada, because we all know New Hampshire is a border state and it borders Canada. Illegal drugs, illegal migrants, you name it, it's coming over the border in New Hampshire as well. But the rest of these people standing out there complaining that they were overlooked, Biden didn't show up, the DNC thinks we're irrelevant, but they're going to write his name on a ballot. What is wrong with these people? Do they actually think that our country is headed in the right direction? And can they actually believe that Joe Biden is doing anything? When we all know he does nothing, he makes no decision, makes no policy, someone is pushing him through. I've talked about that a million times, and quite frankly, I'm tired of saying it. The man is a failure. We all know it. We know another Democrat will not get in unless Biden doesn't make it to the finish line. But you're in a state that's been overlooked by the Democratic Party because, again, New Hampshire is too white. They believe using South Carolina as the first primary will get more people of color. But if these people pay attention, or the Democrats pay attention, they'll see people have had it with Democrats. African Americans, Latinos, you name it, they're tired of the way this country is. Chicago is a war zone. The people are fed up with Democratic policy. Philadelphia, New York is an illegal immigrant haven. People are tired. So the Dems really believe that using South Carolina will propel Joe Biden to the top. My opinion is that's bullshit. I don't see it happening. I don't see Joe Biden getting the minority vote that he did with the 81 million back in 2020. But again, that remains to be seen. We all know Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. They've tried and tried and tried since 2016 to put that man behind bars, and so far they have failed. And we all know the Democrats will pull out all the stops to stop this man from getting back in the White House. And I'll say it like I always do. I was never a huge Trump fan or a Trump supporter, but we need someone like him who has a backbone, who has balls, and is going to take on these countries who are attacking us. These New Hampshire people are blind to reality. The fact of the matter is, our country needs a new leader, and it simply cannot be a woke Democrat who is going to continue all of Joe Biden's failures. They'll insist to this day that it's still racist to show an ID. Kamala Harris is going around the country spewing her cackle, laughing and joking and saying, voter ID is racist. Why should you need an ID to vote? Because you need an ID for everything. I say this in almost every episode lately. The border crisis is a Democratic ploy for votes. New Hampshire should have seen that, but they haven't, so they're still asleep at the wheel. The rest of the country needs to open their eyes, grow a spine, and get rid of these criminal Democrats who are doing nothing but trying to take over the United States for them and their chosen few. And the rest of us will have to fend for ourselves off the pennies that the government may want to give us someday. Enough is enough with this nonsense.